The moment I saw that photo, I knew I'd messed up. Big time. It wasn't just a picture, it was proof of a life I'd chosen to ignore for 10 years. I mean, who misses their own twin's wedding? I remember the day the invitation arrived. It was crisp, white, and felt heavy in my hand. I was living my best life in New York, hustling, chasing a dream that felt a million miles away from our little hometown in Ohio. My twin sister Clara was marrying her high school sweetheart, then. A super sweet, totally boring guy. Don't come, I told myself, tossing the card onto my overflowing desk. You're too busy. This life is more important. That was the mistake. The massive one the title is talking about. I thought I was choosing my future. Really, I was just choosing silence. A year later, I was back. Not for a family event, but for a funeral. My grandmother, the glue of our crazy loud family, had passed. The silence in the house was deafening. It was a cold November night, the kind where the air bites you and the old wooden floor creaked under my feet. I went up to the dusty attic, a place she always said held all the good secrets. And that's where I found it. Not an old diary or some forgotten jewelry. I found a box labeled simply, "Missed Moments." My heartbeat was suddenly too loud, echoing the quiet tension in the room. I lifted the lid. Inside, there were dozens of photos, all crisp and new, not dusty like the attic. And then I saw the first one. Clara and Ben glowing on their wedding day. But there was a small, handwritten note stuck to the back. It wasn't from Clara. It was from Grandma. It read, "You were missed, Liv, but you weren't forgotten. Clara tried to call you. A lot." My stomach dropped. I scrolled through the other photos. Clara's face, happy, then pregnant, then holding a tiny, bundled baby. A new little life that was almost a year old and I didn't even know its name. My inner voice screamed, "You were too busy to answer your sister's call about your own niece?" I felt the hot, stinging shame of regret. Then I pulled out the last picture. It was a close-up, a blurry, beautiful moment. It was Clara holding the baby and Ben standing next to her, but his arm was around another woman, a woman who looked exactly like me. Same wild hair, same mischievous smile. But wait, that couldn't be right. I wasn't there. I know I wasn't there. My hands started to tremble. I flipped it over, expecting another sweet note from Grandma. Instead, a different handwriting, a hurried, messy scrawl was there. It was Clara's. It just said, "She came. She kept our secret safe. Don't tell Liv." Who was she? And what secret was so big that they had to include a stand-in twin at family events for a year just so my absence wouldn't hurt Grandma? I felt a cold wave of betrayal, not from Clara, but from the realization of how deeply my self-absorption had cut her. I hadn't just missed a few parties. I had been replaced. I started hearing light, slow footsteps coming up the attic stairs. The door creaked open. It was Clara. Her eyes were red-rimmed, but there was a guardedness there too. She saw the open box and the pictures scattered around my feet. Her voice was barely a whisper. "You found it." "Who is she, Clara?" I asked, my voice cracking. Clara stepped closer, her eyes welling up. "It's not what you think, Liv. That's our sister." My mind froze. Our sister? I insisted, shaking my head. She just gave a heartbreaking sigh. "She's Dad's daughter, from before he met Mom. He begged us not to tell you, especially when you were so focused on your career. He was scared you'd think he'd ruined our perfect family." "But why the wedding? Why my niece's first birthday?" She held my gaze, tears now streaming. "Because Dad had a major heart attack the week before the wedding. He was in the hospital and he knew he couldn't break your heart and miss my big day. He called her. He begged her to come and just Be your placeholder. So when Grandma asked about busy Liv, there'd be an answer. My jaw dropped. The mystery wasn't about my secrets. It was about theirs, all because of my absence. Feeling heartbreak. And Grandma? She figured it out right away. She was the one who suggested they kept doing it for a year, just until Dad recovered. She knew he couldn't bear the thought of you missing out on a lifetime with him and never knowing the truth. I looked at the photos again. They weren't just missed moments. They were stolen moments, given to someone else because I wasn't there to claim them. Dad wasn't recovering from a heart attack. He had passed away 3 weeks ago. I had been too busy to come home for that call too. The realization slammed into me. The biggest mistake you can make with your family isn't a petty fight or a wrong word. It's letting distance and distraction steal the irreplaceable moments. They created a whole other life, a whole other me, just to keep the love from hurting them. And I let them. Clara reached out, gently taking my hand. It's a second chance, Liv, with me, with our niece, maybe even with our sister. I looked at the blurry photograph, the tear track on its surface. I realized it wasn't Grandma's tears, it was mine. If you want more stories like this, hit subscribe.